Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner, where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Every scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, 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 Chondro Corner. Every scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, 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 Chondro Corner.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Chondro Corner. Before we bring Jason on, we're just going to get through some of the early birds. Bosa was here long before most of us finished dinner. Thank you for coming on, Bosa. Balls of Paradise, thank you for coming on. Shauna, as always, thank you for coming on. Hey, Ron, thank you for coming on. My partner in crime himself, Ro, thank you as always. And we've got Tire Gods Morphs, thank you. Goss Reptile Creations, Casey, thank you for coming on. B-Lock, what's going on? Thank you for coming out. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on Jason from Legless Luxuries. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jen.
How are you?
Good, good, good. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for coming on tonight. Let me shoot my shot.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And thank you for obviously watching our shows and watching us fumble initially on more than one occasion.
No,
it's been a great opportunity for sure. What shirt are you wearing? I didn't even notice that.
Phoenix Reptiles.
Did he send you a sweatshirt?
I just got the t-shirt.
Oh, Bill, when you watch this later, you're slacking. You got to send him a sweatshirt too.
We did. Well, we did a t-shirt swap.
Okay.
Yeah.
I snagged one of his sweatshirts. Now I'm trying to figure out where I can order the two-tone tie strings too for mine.
Ah, nice. Cool.
So obviously, let's start it at the beginning. What species were you keeping that led you into green trees, or did you just jump right in feet first into this rabbit hole?
Yeah, so I mean, I've kept a ton of different things like throughout my life. Honestly, like a little bit of everything, a bunch of different boas and pythons and different colubrids, along with all sorts of other reptiles, lizards and amphibians and arachnids. And I mean, I've had it all kind of. But I went through like a long hiatus. That was like really early on in life. And then I went many years, like literally like over 20 years without keeping anything at all. Just, you know, various circumstances, living situation, whatever, life. So when I got back into it, probably I started getting back into it probably close to 8 years ago now. And I started out, I picked up a Woma python. I had some black milk snakes, rhino rat snakes. So some cool stuff. And then I picked up some Western hognose as well. And then that was like right around that time when I got the hognose that I got into the green tree pythons as well. And that was pretty much due to people posting some pictures like on the Facebook groups and stuff. And then like I joined a green tree python Facebook group and that was it. You know what I mean?
Downhill from there.
Like it was, yeah, it was downhill from there. And, you know, I learned a lot and I was, you know, hesitant to get into them because I didn't know a lot about them at first. And they were always like when I was younger, something like that wasn't even attainable, you know?
Yeah.
You didn't see them in pet stores ever. And it was just like, you know, okay, these live in the wild and people don't keep these, you know? And then seeing people keeping them, it was like, oh my God, you can actually keep these and what? People are breeding these too? And so yeah, so I spent like probably a good year learning about them, like just from the Facebook groups and also picking up, you know, the 2 primary chondro books that are out, you know, the More Complete Chondro and then the, what's the other one? The Zoolander one, whatever that is. So yeah, and those were both awesome. I learned a lot there. And it was like, at that point, I was like, okay, I'm ready for my first one, you know? And that's when I picked up my boy, Kaya, my Aru. And he was just, you know, a little yellow neonate when I got him from, I mean, he's a Bushmaster import that I got through Ryan Burke back then of Clockwork Reptiles. And, you know, I obviously I fell in love with it. And, you know, he did great. It kind of built my confidence. I had no issues with him at all. And so it was probably like at around the 10-month mark that I said, okay, I'm ready for another one. So yeah, so I had him for like just under a year. And then I grabbed another one from Ryan again, another import Neo, which was Decimus, my Cyclops. It was a red Neo Cyclops. And again, you know, he did great. And then it was like, at that point, I was like, I want to breed these, you know, I want more. And I saw what lots of other people were doing with them and the crazy stuff. I mean, you know, you don't forget like the first time you see the sickness.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what it was just like, that's not real. You know what I mean? That's not real.
Yeah, no, there's some incredible animals out there.
Absolutely. So yeah, so that was it for me. And I that's not going to change. Like I'm just all about them. If it was all I had, if I didn't have anything else besides chondros, I'll be happy. Like, and eventually that's what will end up happening is I'll end up having just chondros down the road, way down the road. Because I don't want my other non-chondros to be like kicking the bucket anytime soon. But, you know, likely when they're gone, they would get replaced with chondros, you know.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
So you have the 2 locality. What other chondros do you have? Like, do you have any other localities or designers or? So
yeah, so Aru is my favorite. And I currently have 3 Arus, 2 males, 1 unsexed, and I have 2 import females that will be coming as soon as weather permits. So that will give me 5 Arus, 2.2.1. To start my little stable, my breeding stable of Arus, because I want to do pure Arus. They're my favorite. I love them. And then obviously I have the 1 Cyclops. And besides that, the rest of mine are all are designers. So yeah, so I have Sweetie, who is just, she's Vinsky times Vinsky. So she's a Vinsky girl. And then I have Serendipity, who is a Jaeger times Biscuit boy. And I've got Hamachi, who is he's an AGG animal, Anders. Do you know Anders?
No, still learning.
What's his whole name? I'm not going to pronounce it right. It's like Anders Gustav Guterman. I don't know if I got it right. It's something like that. But anyway, so that's he produced that one. The lineage is going to escape me. I know he has he's got Vinsky blood heavy in him as well. And then I have a John Irby animal, Wanda. That was Blue Mist times Sophie.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's everybody.
So, what's the trick
no,
to remembering off the top of your head, like everybody's lineage?
wait. Yeah. And I also have Quasar, which is House of Blue animal. Yeah. This Kronos times Xenon.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry. So you were saying?
I don't know how you, like, what's the trick to being able to rattle off all the lineage and just be like,
well, I didn't really rattle off any much in the way of lineage.
Yeah, but even like the pairings.
The pairings, yeah, the pairings for the most part, I'm pretty good at remembering. But I mean, that's nothing. I mean, you get someone on here like Patrick Holmes, and you want to talk about rattling off lineage.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine. Like, if you asked me to go deep into lineage, I'd have to pull up the lineage charts on my phone because I don't know. I mean, I could probably think of a couple here and there, but I mean, yeah, I mean, there are some real hardcore lineage fanatics in the community that know their stuff, and which is awesome. We need those people.
But it's cool being able to reach out to some of them, because even like mine, from my designer that I got from Bill, he sends obviously the lineage for several generations. But then it was like, okay, but I want to know what was before that now. So now I'm going to go back and keep tracing the different lines. And for people that can just rattle that off, I'm just like,
it's impressive.
It is. It's very impressive. Like,
yeah.
It's insane how well they can, and it's just like having a normal conversation.
Yeah, pretty much.
So with the designer stuff that you have in there, is there lineage that you want to add still, like bloodlines that you want to add still to your projects, or are you at the point where you're going to start maybe crossing and seeing what you can come up with from there?
Off the top of my head, the one thing that I really covet, and it's not even Red Neo stuff, but that's the Glazer line stuff, which I absolutely love. Like, I want to get my hands on that, or at least something that looks very similar to that. Like Carly has an animal that it's not, I don't believe there's any Glazer lineage in it, but it looks like a Glazer animal kind of,
She has
it's got those big, bold blue diamonds on it that are just crazy. And it looked crazy as a Neo too. Like I love that. So yeah, that type of look, that's something I want to get my hands on for sure. Other than that, I will probably, for the most part, just mess around with what I have and see what I can come up with. I mean, that's the whole fun. That's why Conrad's is so amazing. It's like, Dr. Frankenstein, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, this from here, that from there, and then just see what you get. It's so cool.
Any plans on letting any of your stuff go, or stuff that you produce, you're just going to hoard?
No, I don't have the luxury of I don't have the luxury of hoarding, unfortunately. I just don't have the space for it. So that's going to force me to sell things for sure. Probably things that maybe I don't want to sell eventually, I mean, I guess that's a good problem to have, but But yeah, I mean, I've told people I really like realistically have room for like 19 adult chondros in this room, and it would be in this room you see behind me, and that's it. That's my space, unless I want to, you know, convert my my guest bedroom into a reptile room.
Might as well.
Which, you know, that's always on the table. We'll see where life takes me, but no, but I don't want to do that, you know. So, you know, yeah, I'm gonna be limited on how much I can actually hold back. So, and of course it depends on how big a clutches I get too, you know. I mean, if I get a clutch of 8, well, that's a lot easier for me to manage. If I get a clutch of 28, that's a bit different. You know,
it's a different beast.
Yeah.
So what do you have cooking currently?
So yeah, so as you know, I have so Wanda appears to have ovulated today, which was amazing. Like, you should have seen my eyes bug out of my head when I woke up and I'm lying in bed, and first thing I do is I check my phone and I pull up the, you know, check the video feeds, and my eyes just went, oh, she's ovulating, or it looks like it. Yeah, that was quite a sight. But yeah, so she was paired with Decimus, the Cyclops, and appears he got the job done. And so now it's just wait and see. I'm just, you know, waiting for that, 38 to 48 or 38 to 45 days, whatever, period, to see when she's gonna lay, and hopefully she does, and hopefully they're good eggs. And so yeah, so I have that going on, and then I have Sweetie and Kaya are paired up, and and they've, like, you know, they've been locking up all day today. So it'll be round 2 for them, because last time she gave me a false pregnancy when she was paired with him, which that was a trip. I mean, she went through all the motions.
And then nothing at the end.
Yep. I was just waiting for her to actually lay the eggs, and she would go in her lay box and stuff, and yeah, and then all of a sudden she just started eating again, and I palpated her, and there was nothing in there, and I was just like, wow. Yep.
Wow.
So it might have been, you know, a timing thing. So I'm hoping that the timing this round
is more in favor.
Yeah, it's more in favor, especially because the guy I had got her from, he had bred her twice. He got a successful clutch from her once. That was the first time she'd ever been bred. And then the second time, he got 6 eggs. I think it was 6 eggs, and I think only 2 of them were viable, but they didn't go the distance. It was something like that. And then he sold her, and I bought her. But she's, you know, she's old now. You know, she's 15 years old now, so she may no longer be viable, but we'll see.
See how it goes.
Yeah.
So what are you using for a nest box for them?
So for a nest box, it's just basically like just a standard plastic storage tub, about this big. You can't tell how big I'm doing. But anyway, yeah, it's just.
I can picture it. So
yeah, it's a plastic tub. I forget how many. I actually have this. Wait a sec. Hold on. I have my iPad sitting on one right now.
Oh, geez. Well, you don't have to dismantle your setup.
It's just, I don't. It still has the sticker on the side. It's a 16-quart tub.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a 16-quart tub. So it is clear. The lid is solid, and I have a hole in the top of it, in like the top corner. And then I have a cutout on one end that I can fit a camera into. So
similar to, like Chuck's nest box looks like a tree trunk hide.
I have one of those too.
So yeah, I have one sitting because I was like, man, that's a really cool setup. So I even went and got like the camera, you know,
Yeah.
because I'm neurotic like that. Like when I pair these two, I like every morning I pull up the camera just to watch like all the video from the night before. Because
Oh, nice.
you know, who wants to watch snakes locking it in over coffee?
Absolutely. It's perfect combo.
But yeah, it's a similar concept for that.
Yes, similar concept, just different placement of the camera, you know. And then I was using sphagnum for the lay box.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it's just you know, it gets heated from the cage below it basically. Yeah. Which works out perfect. I put these like little legs on the bottom of it because it was getting too hot. So I actually bought these like legs that stick on the bottom of the lay box to raise it up a little bit.
Now, as far as incubation boxes, what are you using for that?
Okay, so for incubation, I've got the sim container, the extra large sim container. Yeah. And I was originally going to do like just water in it, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to be more comfortable doing the mixture of water with perlite in there, just so the water doesn't slosh around as much. Like I'll be so paranoid if I have to, for any reason, move that during incubation to tend to the eggs or something. So I'm going to do that instead at the bottom. But I mean, same difference. And the incubator itself is going to be humidified. So there will be no lack of humidity. And I've already done my test runs with it. It's all dialed in.
So I ended up getting the sim containers, but I'm leaning more towards, so like for my other snakes that I breed, I use actually like the water beads in the water so the water doesn't splash.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards that for my setup, but I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, I think I've heard other people doing that.
Like the same concept as like the Orbeez, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Cool. Yeah.
I might feel miserably at it. I don't know.
So you haven't produced a clutch yet?
Nope.
So you're working on that right now?
Yes. Yeah. So
do you want to share like what specifically you're working on?
So I have this big beast back here, is just a Biak import. And then this guy over here is a Biak Jayapura cross.
Okay.
So I'm doing that for my first pairing, whether it goes anywhere or not, to be determined. This is a whole different beast for me. It's been a learning experience for sure. It's not anywhere in the same ballpark as throwing two ball pythons together and calling it a day.
Right. Yeah.
But it's been fun. Like I wouldn't trade this for the world. As far as the other ones I have the little one up here that will be 2 at the end of April. That is a Jaeger Clover pairing from Bill.
Yeah, cool.
And then I have in quarantine, I have a like, he's almost, well, I say he, I don't know what the hell it is. It's almost like a super dark maroon Biak import, but the diamonds on it are almost like a gold.
Yeah.
I originally wasn't going to go down the rabbit hole of like a new Neo import, but then like the coloring on it was just spectacular. And then the outlines around the diamonds are like pitch black. So
cool.
I couldn't leave it sitting there. And then I have a sarong from Alex.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice. So have you actually attempted a pairing yet or no?
So I've actually introduced these two several times.
Yeah.
She's going into blue. I figured it's been a few weeks since I fed either one. So I pulled him, gonna let her shed, fed them, whatever. he pokes around in her coils like nobody's business, is all over her literally all night long. But she just sits there and looks at him like,
she's not giving up the tail.
no, she'll loosen her coils throughout the night and you can see her start to relax. She's not like tucking and hiding from him or anything like that. But she's just like the tail skirts to the outside of her coils and then it stops. And she's even gone so far as like, I've seen her like literally spray urine throughout the enclosure and not to clean it. But then she'll slide the tail back under and I'm like, great, you know, way to play hard to get.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how Wanda was at first. Before she was like ready, it was just urates everywhere, huge mess. Oh man. But once she became ready, she stopped doing that. You know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, so I know that frustration.
I mean, I didn't have high hopes. Honestly, I'm going into this cautiously optimistic. But I knew there would be a learning curve for me. So right now, a lot of it for me is just watching the behaviors. I have a journal. I literally log, like if I notice a change in behaviors on any of them, then I log it, like just so that I have my own references to go back to too.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's on them if she's going to be receptive or she's not. I know he is all gung-ho for her, but you know.
Well, that's a good sign anyway. You know,
not every couple's a good match right off rip.
Right. No, exactly. I mean, because it goes the other way too, where like my Vinsky boy Hamachi, who I really wanted to pair to Sweetie, who is the Vinsky girl. Mm-hmm. He wants nothing to do with the ladies, and he's almost 7 years old. He'll be 7 in April, on April 2nd, I believe. And he didn't want anything to do with Sweetie, nothing to do with Wanda. And I threw 2 different males in with each of them, and they went to town almost immediately. So sometimes it's a compatibility issue, or sometimes you just get a male that's a dud, I guess, or a male that just turns on real late. Because I know I've talked to people who said, you know, I had a male that wouldn't go, and then at 7 years old, he went. So you just never know. I'll keep trying.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what I'm just going to keep doing with them. So I'll let her shed. I mean, we don't have another front moving through for at least a couple weeks. So I'll just give them a break from each other and reintroduce when the next front moves through at this point. I mean, I've got forever to do this. So.
Yep. Cool. And then as you go along, obviously you just keep learning more and more, gaining that wisdom you need. And like you said, you're taking notes, watching their behavior and everything. And being keyed into those subtleties, those behavioral subtleties is, I think, really key with breeding chondros.
Yeah. Lots to learn still. It's definitely world different than throwing 2 ball pythons in a rack and giving them 72 hours, you know?
Yeah. My Western hognose are much easier to breed.
And probably a better shot at the end goal too, honestly. I feel like the odds are stacked against us, but that's what makes it interesting.
Yep.
What are some things you wish you had known coming into this that you know now?
That I wish I had known. That's a tough question. I mean, just because I took my time getting into it, you know what I mean? And like learning, I mean, obviously the breeding stuff. I mean, I guess that's probably where the answer to that question lies. You know, there was a lot of things associated with breeding that I didn't know that I know now, through, you know, being mentored by various people, especially Patrick Holmes. But but I don't know. I seriously don't know if I can like think of like one specific thing to answer your question. It's the
What's
worst.
the first thing that comes to mind?
It'll probably something will probably come to me as soon as this ends.
That's fine. We can just add it as a note, you know, in the replays. So like, oh, this is what it was. Like
yeah. I'll comment on it afterwards. Or if I think of something during this, I'll let you know. I'll try and work on it. But yeah, nothing's coming to mind right now. It's like something specific that I wish I had known that I know now. Yeah.
So I will say for me, like, I don't know. I said I wanted these 2 years before I got my first one. But where I ran into the problem, or I wouldn't say a problem, it was a learning curve, was each person does things a little differently. And unlike the other species I keep, where you can take a little bit from everybody and piece it all together to make work what works for you, this is very much like you almost have to find somebody who this is in the same climate, same type of setup, same everything, and like basically stick to what they found worked for them. Like you can't do this, and that was an adjustment for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a really good point, and that's so true.
Because I literally wanted to like read the pages and read the forums and be like, oh, let me just make all this work, and it doesn't.
Right. There's
doesn't
a
work.
lot. Yeah, there's so many factors to consider with breeding them for sure. Yeah, that are location dependent and all that. Yeah.
What do you, for when you're getting yours ready for breeding, do you cycle at all, or do you not cycle? Like, do you food and temp cycle or no?
Yeah. So, you know, honestly, the temp cycling for me is really easy. So, I mean, I'm in Massachusetts, right? So obviously it gets cold here in the winter, and you know, I don't have a dedicated snake room per se. I'm not running like, you know, ambient temps. I'm using heat panels, right? So, and this room that they're in is very well lit as well. I mean, my sliding glass doors to my deck are right here, you know, so that's like a huge window, and this window's scattered around the room too. So the combination of, so that they're getting a natural light cycle first off, right? And then as far as temperatures, you know, during the summer, temps in my house are generally like, you know, 72 to 76 degrees. On rare occasions, I let it get up to 78, but I have my AC set to 76 generally during the summer, right? So it doesn't get warmer than that. So the temps are there. And then in the winter though, my house temp, I have my heat set at 70. And it doesn't really get above 70 in here during the winter. So they're getting a 6-degree nighttime, you know, temperature swing, right? So I mean, they still get heat at night through the heat panels, but I think I have the heat panels set at 74. So I mean, during the summer, like I said, that's going to be warmer than that on the cool side, because of my house temps during the summer. Whereas in the winter, when it's 70, that cool side temp in their enclosure is going to be lower than it was in the summer. So they're getting they're feeling an automatic temperature drop with the change of seasons, along with the light cycle change, you know? So I really don't need to do anything as far as that type of cycling. Now, I do incorporate the food cycling into it too. And that's something that I still may tweak and do it differently down the road. But so far it seems to be working for me, where, you know, I went like, what was it? Like just a month and a half, 2 months without feeding, which isn't much of a difference. I mean, they only get fed like once every 3 or 4 weeks anyway. But yeah, so I'm doing that, and then kind of ramping them up and feeding them like their regular meal, like every 2 weeks instead of every 3 or 4, right? And doing that for like 2 months, and then pairing them up was kind of how I had done it. And then once they're paired, going to real small meals like every 5 or 6 days until they stop eating. So that's kind of the routine that I went with, and it seems to have worked. We'll see.
If you were to tweak that, what are you thinking you would tweak?
Well, it would be a really big tweak if I was going to tweak that, because, you know, like you said, people do things differently, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm always listening, and I'm always open to changing, you know, what I'm doing if it seems like that might make more sense or be better. So the thing that's on my mind, and I've been talking to, do you know who Kenny Richichi is?
No.
Okay, you know Vin
I don't know.
Russo?
I've added so many people lately and started following people and searching people, and so not
Do you
up
know?
for it.
Do you know Vin Russo?
Yes. I
Okay,
know who
so
that is.
Kenny is his understudy.
Okay.
There's another word for that too, but anyway, but yeah, so he's learned a lot from Vin, and so what Kenny basically, he hardly ever feeds his chondros from if I'm remembering this correctly. He barely feeds them and like throughout the year, like a very short span of time. And when it's time for like breeding, he stops feeding them, the male and the female. He doesn't feed them during breeding season at all. And you know, he I don't want to recite it all because I'd have to read it, because I'd want to make sure I got it right, because we had a conversation and he went through like his whole explanation on that, and then, you know, we kind of went back and forth, but it was interesting, and you know, it got me thinking. I'm like, you know, does that make more sense? And obviously he's having success with it, and Vin has success with it. They both are doing great with breeding chondros. So I don't know. It was just something that kind of piqued my interest and made me raise an eyebrow and go, huh. So we'll see. I'm probably going to talk to him a little more about it, and maybe talk to some other people about it too, just to see what their opinions are on that method, and it's just something to consider down the road to try.
I mean, I could see where it would make sense though, because if they have good body structure going into it, you know,
right.
In the wild, are they really going out and getting fed every 2 to 3 weeks, or are they just actively looking to procreate?
Right. Oh, totally. And I mean, you know, you look at the animals in the wild and you see that they're, you know, a lot more slender than most of the animals in captivity. So yeah, I think Kenny, you know, keeps his animals a lot more slender than most of us do, and he doesn't really concern himself with that, and you know, with really, you know, making sure that they're in breeding condition. You know what I mean? Like people want to put like a little more meat on the bones of the females before they want to put the meat on the bones of the females before they start, you know, creating eggs, which makes sense to me too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like their bodies are going through a whole ordeal. Like they're creating life. They're having to calcify eggs and do all this stuff, and it's taxing. And you see that even when you do, you know, get them up to weight for breeding, after they lay, a lot of times they can, you know, look quite emaciated.
Yeah.
You know, so so I find it interesting that, you know, Kenny's not doing that, and his animals bounce back just fine still. So, you know, what is the healthier method? What is the better method? I don't know, but it's interesting.
It's definitely like polar opposite for sure.
It's polar opposite, yeah. And it's crazy that again, both methods work. I don't know.
Have to look into that a little more.
Yeah.
It's intriguing, really. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But like you said, is their body structure always thickens? Not normally, not when they're out there, not in here being lazy, being acorns on a stick. So
Right. Yeah. Basically, yeah. And obviously, you got to be careful with obesity and any snake. And we have a pretty good idea of what, a healthy, strong chondro should look like. They should be lean and muscular,
Not too thick like a ball python.
Right. Right. And I've definitely seen some chondros that look like that.
Yes. Yeah. I actually had somebody send me a picture of one, and I was like, holy cow, like, lay off the feed for like Jesus. Like, they're meant to be slim and smooth and sexy, not looking like they swallowed a 500-pound man.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, they got those fat rolls going and all the folds. And
Yes. Yeah. I was like, holy power fed. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is one source of information that you find to be, I would say, reliable? Like, is there a certain group on Facebook, social media? Is there a forum that you like to refer to? Like, if somebody's brand new, like, even for myself, there's still a lot I'm learning. What is one area that you would recommend them go, besides obviously finding a solid mentor or two?
Right. I mean, honestly, before like guiding them, I mean, I definitely guide them to either of the two major chondro forums for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The Morelia, the MVF forum, and then the other main green tree python forum. But I think it's super important to read those two books. That would be like, that's the first thing I would tell anyone is like, you want a chondro? Awesome. Read that book and read that book. Then start thinking about getting one. And then, go onto those forums. You can, they've got, document sections and stuff where you can pick through documents, husbandry stuff, breeding stuff, a little of everything. And it's a great place to start just getting to know people, introducing yourself, making connections, and asking your questions there. And then, like you mentioned, finding that mentor that lives in an area like you live. And it's funny, like Patrick is my mentor. He does not live in an area like I live, but that's okay.
Me with Bill.
But ideally, that does make the most sense to find someone that lives in that type of. It doesn't have to be in the same state or even in the same part of the country. Just same type of weather. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I guess that's what I would say.
For somebody getting brand new into this, would you recommend for them to get like a U.S. captive born and bred from somebody, or take the plunge on an import?
Yeah, I would definitely say ideally, if you can afford it, which, if you can't, just save up a few extra bucks. But yeah, definitely a U.S. captive born and bred animal is the way to go, not only because you're likely going to get a very well-started, very healthy animal, but whoever you get it from is likely going to be willing to be there for you for the whole lifetime of that animal, to help you with anything you need help with. So yeah, and I mean, I think pretty much all of the breeders are really good like that. So yeah, definitely US captive bred.
I've noticed it, like, pretty much everybody's solid. Like, even in the groups, when somebody posts and you can clearly see they're going down the wrong avenue with their animal, like, people genuinely want you to succeed and want that animal to survive and do well. So, I mean, that's refreshing being in this side of things for sure.
Yeah.
So I think I just wish, like, I see some of the people who get really good feedback who are so against the feedback. And I'm like, can you just be a little bit more open-minded? Like,
Wait, they get good feedback, but they're against.
like in some of the
feedback?
groups, some of the people put stuff that you're just like, bro, like they'll put, I don't know, a big ass Exoterra and a little tiny Neo, and people will be like, you don't want to do this. Your animal is not going to thrive. It's probably not going to survive. Like,
Oh, got it.
so it's refreshing to see how many people though give good advice and want you to do well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a really passionate community for sure. And yeah, everybody does want to see each other do well, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing before we wrap it up, tell me about your enclosures. So I see your posts all the time talking about Toad Ranch for your enclosures. Give us a little info on those.
What like
What
how I have.
sizes do you use?
Okay, just how they're
What
set
do you
up
like
and
about them? Yeah.
what I like. Yeah. So all my adults are in 3x2x2, or I actually have one that's in a 4x2x2. But yeah, pretty much 3x2x2s all around, and they're all heated by Pro Heat panels from Pro Products.
Okay.
That is all I use. And of course, I've got perches from David Brahms of the Reptile Perch, formerly Specialty Enclosure Designs. He's got awesome stuff, and I had the pleasure of actually visiting him once, because he's right in Maine, so he's not a far drive. So that was fun seeing his whole operation. But anyway, yeah. So, and I also actually provide UVB to all of my snakes, including all of my chondros. Yeah, so they get UVB 6 hours a day. I do from 9 to 3. The light is on, and it's kind of like filtered. I have like fake plant like in front of it, so it's not like super direct. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, they would be in the forest with filtered sunlight through the leaves. And yeah. So yeah, I love those enclosures. They're super durable so far. And it's like the frame that they have in the front, that wood frame, like I said, it just adds that extra like structural rigidity to it, which is really cool for stacking. Makes you feel confident that they're never gonna like start bowing or anything. But yeah.
Have you done any other custom backgrounds that they do too?
The custom backgrounds are awesome. If I had unlimited funds, I would definitely have the custom backgrounds in all my
They're freaking cool.
They're super cool. But yeah, and you can like get them like wrapped around too, you know, which is pretty neat.
Well, I was playing with ordering one.
Oh yeah.
And I saw those backgrounds, and I was like, man, this could be really bad. Like,
yeah,
I don't need this kind of accessory. Like,
right.
No, they're super nice. So
yeah, they are. And Jared and Denny are super cool to work with too. They will, work with you if you want anything custom done. They'll make it happen. And yeah, just really, really nice people.
Anything else you want to add, ask, anything before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered it.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and put you backstage if you can hang out for just a minute. And thank you definitely for coming on and doing this with me.
Yeah, thanks again for having me. It was awesome and an honor.
All right, I'll see you in just a second.
All right, sounds good.
All right, everyone. That wraps up another episode of the Chondro Corner. For those who catch the replay, don't forget to do #ReplayGang. If there's any questions you guys want asked on future episodes, don't hesitate to reach out to Ro and I and just throw us those questions, throw them in the comments on YouTube. And don't forget that the playbacks are available on all major streaming networks. So Apple, Spotify, you name it, you can find us there. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning on tonight, and I hope you guys have a great night.
Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner, where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Every scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, 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 Chondro Corner. When we scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
Chondro Corner, 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 Chondro Corner.